In the previous videos, I covered a family of transmembrane receptor G protein coupled receptors. In today's video, we're going to talk about enzyme linked receptors, and enzyme linked receptors are also known as single path receptors or kinase linked receptors, because enzyme in this case is a kinase. And we're going to talk about this family of receptors under the types of tyrosine kinase receptors, tyrosine kinase associated receptors, tyrosine phosphatase receptors, and serine and threonine kinase receptors. So first one in this family we're going to talk about is tyrosine kinase receptors, and this type of receptor, as you can see, has a ligand binding domain outside the cell. And first category we're going to discuss is tyrosine kinase receptor, and as you can see that this kind of receptor has an extracellular ligand binding domain, and the intracellular effector domain is basically an enzyme, or it has an intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity. So this is the ligand binding domain, that is outside the cell, or that is extracellular, and this whole is effector domain that has intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity, which means it can phosphorylate the tyrosine residues of the protein. Which type of ligands basically molecules act as ligand for this type of receptor? So peptide hormones, platelet growth factor, vascular growth factor, epidermal growth factor, and nerve growth factor are some examples which act as ligand for tyrosine kinase receptors. So when the ligand binds here in the ligand binding domain, this activates the effector domain, and effector domain in response phosphorylates its own tyrosine kinase residues, which is known as autophosphorylation. So it has this tyrosine residues, and when the ligand binds here, it leads to its own phosphorylation, and this is a process that is known as autophosphorylation. And when this autophosphorylated effector domain is activated, this interacts with a protein that is known as sulfhydryl protein. Here is our sulfhydryl protein, and here is our sulfhydryl protein, and it will basically interact with it is a protein that only interacts with phosphorylated tyrosine residues of tyrosine kinase receptor. So this is a sulfhydryl protein, and these are sulfhydryl domains, and they interact with the phosphorylated tyrosine residues of this tyrosine kinase receptor, and when they interact with each other, they cause the activation of another protein that is known as this leads to the activation of another protein that is known as son of Samuel's protein. or SOS. And this son of seven-less protein then activate another or stimulate another protein that is known as RAS protein. Here is our RAS protein. This is a RAS protein, and RAS protein is basically a low molecular weight monomeric protein that is associated itself with GDP or GTP during the intracellular communication mechanisms. So this is a RAS protein, and RAS protein, when activated, it basically loses GDP and acquires GTP. When it is activated by a son of seven-less protein, it loses GDP and it acquires GTP, and now it is activated. And this RAS protein stimulate another protein, that is RAF protein kinase. And RAF protein kinase basically belongs to a family of kinase that are threonine and serine specific kinase, means they only phosphorylate threonine or serine residues of the protein. And when this RAF protein kinase is activated, it activates another protein that is known as MAP kinase. MAP means mitogen activated protein kinase. Mitogen is any peptide that induces cell division or mitosis, and this is a mitogen activated protein kinase. And when this MAP kinase is activated, this is activated by RAF protein, this phosphorylates different transcription factors. So MAP kinase phosphorylates transcription factors that are present in the cytoplasm, and this transcription factor is then travels to the nucleus. Then it is translocated to nucleus. There it produces messenger RNA, which ultimately translates into proteins, and it leads to cell growth. So that is overall mechanism for the working of tyrosine kinase receptors, and I will summarize it as that the ligand for tyrosine kinase receptors can be peptide hormone like insulin, platelet growth factor, vascular growth factor, epidermal and nerve growth factors. And when any of these ligand bind to its ligand binding domain, its effector domain is activated, which is basically an enzyme, and this enzyme autophosphorylate, mean it phosphorylate its own tyrosine residues. And then this self-hydral protein comes and it interacts with the phosphorylated tyrosine residues, and this process activates son of seven-less SOS protein, and this SOS protein then stimulate RAS protein, and RAS protein is stimulated by losing low energy molecule GDP and acquiring a high energy molecule GTP, which then stimulate another protein, that is RAF protein kinase, which is a threonine and serine specific kinase, which in turn stimulate this MAP kinase, and MAP kinase then finally brings about the phosphorylation of different transcription factors, which are translocated to the nucleus. There, through the process of transcription and ultimately through the translation, results in the growth. So the next type of the kinase linked receptor we're going to discuss is tyrosine kinase associated receptor, and as the name indicates, like tyrosine kinase receptors, it won't have any intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity. Rather, it would acquire tyrosine kinase in order to perform its function. So first we talk about that what kind of molecules can act as, or neurotransmitters or hormones can act as ligands for this type of receptor. So prolactin, interleukin 2, cytokines, and growth hormones can act as ligands for this kind of receptor. And a very interesting thing happens here, because when any of these ligand bind to this receptor, it leads to dimerization of receptor, which means that this ligand binds to two receptors. This is the first receptor and this is the second receptor, and it binds with the two receptors. So binding of ligand leads to dimerization of receptor, and this forms a kind of complex. And now this complex is activated because it has ligand attached to it. So this activated complex will now acquire a special type of tyrosine kinase, which is known as JAK. So here is our special tyrosine kinase, which is known as JAK, or this is Janus kinase. And here JAK or tyrosine kinase performs a phenomena that is known as cross phosphorylation. So how it does cross phosphorylation? Here is the tyrosine residue of, this is the tyrosine residue of one receptor, and this is the tyrosine residue of the other receptor, and the JAK or Janus kinase of the one receptor will phosphorylate the tyrosine residue of the other receptor, and this JAK will phosphorylate the tyrosine residue of the other receptor, and this phenomena is known as cross phosphorylation. So now here is our complex that is cross phosphorylated by JAK, and now here comes another protein that is known as STAT. So there is a protein that is known as STAT protein, and STAT stands for signal transducer and activator of transcription. STAT is signal transducer and activator of transcription. So this STAT interacts with these cross phosphorylated whole complex, and then it separates from this complex, and they interact with each other. Now they interact with each other. So once they interact with each other, they basically carries the signal to the nucleus. Here is the nucleus, and they goes inside the nucleus. And they stimulate specific genes, and they affect the process of transcription, and ultimately the proteins are formed. So in the summary, the whole process or working of tyrosine kinase receptor, ligand comes and it binds with two receptors and not one receptor, leading to the dimerization of the receptor. And once this complex is activated, it is dimerized, then it acquires JAK, which that is a special type of tyrosine kinase, and this JAK will cross phosphorylate the tyrosine residues of these two receptors. And once this is cross phosphorylated, then another protein comes, STAT, that is signal transducer and activator of transcription. It transduces the signal to the nucleus, and then affect the process of transcription and translation, and then produces the proteins. Next type we're going to discuss is tyrosine phosphatase receptor, and as the name indicates, it phosphatase is an enzyme that removes phosphate group from its target protein, and this is tyrosine phosphatase, so it will remove phosphate group from the tyrosine residue of the target protein. So here is our tyrosine phosphatase receptor, which is basically an enzyme, and if this is our target protein and it has a tyrosine residue, and this tyrosine residue is phosphorylated. So this receptor will remove the phosphate group and it will release the dephosphorylated protein. So this type of enzymes, they dephosphorylate different proteins such as MAPs, that are mitogen activated protein, or different type of receptor kinases. And example of this tyrosine phosphatase receptor is CD45 protein. CD45 protein is a protein that act as tyrosine phosphatase. The last type of the kinase linked receptor we're going to discuss is serine threonine kinase receptors. This is serine threonine kinase receptors, and we assume that the ligand here is beta transforming growth factor. This is beta transforming growth factor. Beta transforming growth factor is a family which includes polypeptides, and they are involved in cell division, cell metabolism, and cell proliferation. So when it attaches to this serine threonine kinase receptor, it is activated. This is activated, and this its effector domain, which has kinase activity, it will lead to the phosphorylation of the effector protein. So for example, here is this is our effector protein, and it has this serine and threonine residues. So this receptor will lead to the phosphorylation of serine and threonine residues.